Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Phasia, and today we're going to be doing a wrap-up. Now I'm going to be honest that this video is going to be long because I did not realize that the last time I did a wrap-up was in June. Yeah, so I have my computer here all set up with my reading spreadsheet and Goodreads ready so I could just scroll through and explain books to you. I just want to let you know the lighting is terrible. I have tried so many times to fix it. It will be either bright and you can't see me, or it'll be dark and you can't see me. So we're just gonna have to work with what we got right now. I'm still planning on getting a ring light, just haven't purchased it yet. So also I wanted to mention I got my hair washed and combed out, so we're back to the braids and the scarf again. So yay. All right, so let's get started. So as of right now, today is October 26th, and I have read right around 100 and 110 books. I will be honest, my reading challenge at Goodreads is incorrect because it thinks I read, or at least reread, multiple books. But to be honest, I didn't. I think there should be 1 or 2 books on there that I reread, so this should be much shorter than it is. But I don't know what happened with the Goodreads. It keeps thinking I've reread it, so the number keeps going up, but we're just gonna stick with that. It says I read 106. But on my 2019 reading spreadsheet, I've actually read, let's see, 99 books. I need to update it, so it should be 100, but I've read 99 books. Okay, so I believe the last wrap-up I did was in June. If you were around at the time, I don't think you guys really remember the books I was reading, so I might kind of like briefly discuss them. But ever since then, I read almost 60 books, which is kind of crazy because it's been, what, 4 months? Something like that? Wild. Alright, so I think I'm going to give like a brief description or a brief summary of each book because there's too many books to be going through. So the first book that I see here is Crossed by Ali Condi. I already read that series because it was kind of just on the whim. I picked up Matched, I think, as an audiobook just because, and then ended up really wanting to reread the series, so I just picked all of them up. I do not remember what rating I gave it. Gave it 5 stars. The next book is The Cardboard Kingdom by Chad Sell. That was a ebook that I offered that I borrowed from my library using Libby. Actually really enjoyed it. I believe I gave that 5 stars as well. It was about a bunch of kids who, some did know each other and some were new to the neighborhood, and they were all playing together, and they play a game called the Cardboard Kingdom, where basically they make their own kingdom using cardboard, anything around the house that they can use, and make their own characters. I thought it was really cute. It touched on some more important topics, but in like a, how do I explain? In a way for younger children to understand, because it was more geared to like middle grade. Then we have Royce Rolls by Margaret Stowe. I believe I gave that like right around 3.5 or 4 stars. Yeah, 3 stars. That is a book about a girl named Royce and her family, who are like basically the Kardashians in our world, but in their world it's the Royces. And actually, I believe I just said her name. Her name is Bentley, and the family's name is Royce. Basically, they're just a popular family who have a reality TV show, and it was really interesting because I'm so used to celebrities being written very differently, so to have it like taking a TV show and putting it in book format was kind of fun. But I do think halfway through it was not it. I feel like she put 2 or 3 book ideas into one. It just did not mesh well for me. Then the next book I read was Reached, which is the Matched Part 3. I gave that like 4.5 stars. Then I read Meet Cute by Helena Hunting. And I just went back to make sure that I was about to describe the right book, so I am. This book is about a girl. Okay, well, she's a woman now. Her name is Kaylin, and she is a lawyer, I believe. And I guess she works at the firm, and she does a couple things, and one day someone that she had some interest in when she was younger and also had a bit of a rival with when she was younger named Dax comes in because he needs help. It's actually really interesting because the two of them met when they were younger in law school, and they were friends for a while, but then all of a sudden he decided to kind of use her in a way till he get his footstep forward, and he ended up, I think he got the position or something like that. I can't remember. And so now that they are back in each other's lives, she has to do a few things to help him out because of what happened with his family, because unfortunately some family members have died. And so with her being around to help with a few things, slowly starts to build a relationship with him and his sibling, his younger sister. I believe I gave that one about 5 stars as well. I really, really enjoyed that one. I think that was one of the first new adult romances I read this year, and I was like, just kind of started my, I don't want to say journey, because I feel like throughout the year I started picking up more new adult romances. The next book I read is a graphic novel called Batgirl Nightfall Descends. It was, again, one of those books I just picked up randomly off Libby, and Libby gave it like 3.5 or 4 stars. Then I picked up Squigger Wonkers, The Demise of Some of the Spoiled by Evangeline Lilly. I met her at BookCon, and okay, I didn't meet her at BookCon. I wanted to, but my dad wanted to see her more, and I was like, how about you go get the book and you go sign it, because he loves her in every role she played in, and also we love Marvel, and I was like, ooh, Lost I think might be my favorite role of hers. I do like her as Ant-Woman, but Ant-Woman, Wasp, but I do prefer her in Lost. I don't know, that's just me. Then I read DC Year of the Villain Special 2019, which is basically a little booklet kind of talking about different graphic novels in the DC universe that were about villains or had like some kind of significance with a villain. Then I read Batgirl Death of the Family, which was also in the series as the previous graphic novel, which I think I really enjoyed that one more because I feel like it was, how do I explain it? It kind of wrapped up a few things from the past couple of graphic novels in the series, and it brought up a lot about families and like what trusting you should do, and like, I don't know, it's just really good because there was a lot of like family problems and dynamics throughout the story that I really liked. Then there is Safe Haven by Nicholas Sparks. I read this book physically, I listened to the audiobook, and I watched the movie within 3 or 4 days. I don't know why. I believe it's a reading rush. I love Safe Haven. I read it and watched it many times before, and when I believe around reading rush time, I was like, I want to listen to this again. And so I did, and read it, and watched the movie, and loved all 3. Always and Forever, Laura Jean, which I believe is book 3 in the series by Jenny Han. I feel like to All the Boys I Loved Before series was one of those series where the book 1 is really, really great, and the book 2 and 3 are not as great, where it kind of like slowly goes down this, I don't know, slope, and it's just not as good. I feel like, for me, I believe a lot of people had one of those rare opinions where they did not enjoy the series as much. I did really love the movie. I feel like it did change the characters a little bit, because in the books they were annoying. Like, they really, really annoyed me. Like, ugh. I think my favorite character, I want to say his name is John Paul Jones. I don't know why John Paul Jones is the name that comes to my head, but I'm pretty sure that's not his name. Girl, I thought my roommate just came back. I was about to start crying because I did not want to see her catch me in this. Okay. Let me scroll down. And the next book that I read in July is Not a Secret by, I apologize if I pronounce her name wrong. I think it's like Misa Sugira or Sugara. It is a LGBT book about a girl. I don't remember her name, but her family has moved to a new state because of her dad has received a new job. And she's really confused because she's noticing that there's changes in the relationship and between her parents. And she doesn't understand why she has to go. There's really not like a big reason. She's really upset because she's kind of moved away from friends and family. And then one day she discovers a secret about her parents. And it kind of just tears her world apart. Along the journey, I believe she joins a track team because she meets a girl that she has a crush on. It's a whole mess. I did not enjoy this book at all because I felt like she was getting really racist. I mean, okay, maybe not her. I feel like the point of this book was to talk about different races and really bring out the discussion, but I feel like in the way it did it kind of was not good. It was really irritating me. It was like, because 1 minute they're complaining about a certain thing about a race, and the next minute, like, being a hypocrite. We're like, oh, you can't be following stereotypes or saying these things, but the next minute they do exactly that, and I'd be like, what? I don't know. It would bother me, so I ended up, I believe I DNF'd this one. I don't think I'm continuing reading from that author because that was not a great reading experience for me. Then I read Her Royal Highness by Rachel Hawkins. I believe it's about a girl who got a scholarship to go to a academy in another country, and she ends up being the roommates with the princess of a different country, and slowly, at first they hate each other, which slowly then begins to build into a friendship, into a romance. There are a little bit of conflicts and things that they have to go through along the way to get to the ending. Thought it was good. I do wish some of the characters had a little bit more time to develop, but other than that, I think it was good. Next book I read for July was Geekerella by Ashley Poston. This is a book about a girl, I think her name is Ella, and she is the daughter of a very well-known, I want to say, like, sort of like, it's not Comic-Con in the book, it's a different name, but he's helped create it, basically. And unfortunately, since he has passed away, things have changed a little bit because I think him and the mother have passed away. So now that the stepmom is around, the stepmom doesn't really seem to approve. It seems kind of like she's here for money, and it really bothers her. So she decides to go to this Comic-Con anyway, and things happen along the way. I believe she begins talking to someone anonymously online, which turns out to be the actor to a show that is, it's like the adaptation to a very popular story that her dad was a part of. If that makes sense. How to explain it is much better explained than the book. And it turns out that these two, she hates him, but she doesn't know that until she meets him. It's wild. It's a wild story. I did really enjoy it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna read book 2 or 3 because I believe they are following different characters, and oftentimes when they follow different characters, it's just kind of meh. Right, next thing I read is Strange Dreamer. I DNF'd that book, and that's all we're gonna say about it. Another book I read was Fixed Up by Tessa Bailey, which I believe is about a character, I do not remember her name, and she was kind of been known as being plain, businessy, fun, boring, and she lives in a house by herself, and a guy who is, I want to say, like, past family friends of her family comes back to town. He does a lot of construction work and, like, real estate type stuff, and he helps her out with that, like, helps out with her house because she's trying to get, like, upgrade her house. And I believe he's a little bit of a celebrity. People tend to, they believe he was like he's an ex-athlete, which is why he's a celebrity. I'm sorry, it's been a couple months since I've read all these books, so I don't remember clearly, but she is trying to learn how to be more woman, I guess, sexy, go on dates, all these kind of things, and so they decide to do a fake relationship for a little while, which starts to become a real relationship, steamy. I really liked the ending. The ending was cute. It was cute, even though that was a little dangerous, a little crazy, but I thought it was cute. Next book I read was Meet Cute, Some People Are Destined to Meet by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It is a anthology, I believe, where it's a bunch of mini stories put together. It consists of, I want to say 13 authors, I could be wrong, but they all wrote a short story about people meeting together for the first time and how their relationship built. Excuse me. Okay. The next book I read is 98% 9, which is another new adult romance, and I guess she really has feelings for this guy. What exactly does this guy do? I'm actually gonna go back and read my review. Her brother's best friend. And I believe they've had history, but he ended up becoming a relationship with someone else, and things happened along the way. And now he's back. So she does real estate with her brother, and they're trying to fix the story and sell it. Fix this building, get a story out there, sell it, and he's coming down to help, because he was asked by the brother to help. And let's see, she was planning to just be done and over it, but the best friend comes back and he's finally single, and now the two of them are together in the same house all the time because they're trying to build the house. Some tension. As you can see, I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. It just, I don't know. It's like 1 minute she was a very tough girl, the next minute she was just sad, annoying little thing. I don't know. I was just like, girl, you was 23 years old. Like, relax. Next book I read is A Piece of My Heart by Sharon Sala. Sharon Sala is amazing, and that's all we need to say about it. Just pick up her books and come on. Like, bro. I have been reading a lot of her books the last, I want to say, year and a half, if it's not just this year, because I found out that there's a whole bunch more books that are out, and I did not even know it until recently. Now, this one in particular is book 4 in the Blessing of Georgia series. This one is about a woman named Mercy Dane, and if I remember correctly in the beginning, she is a blood donor, and she got a phone call to come to this town to donate blood. And she meets this guy on a motorcycle. So I believe she was speeding there, and he tried to get her, but then he didn't realize what the situation was. And it turns out her and the cop have past history, because when she was younger, she lived kind of like on her own, working really hard to pay those bills and kind of thing. He helped her out one day because I believe there was a robbery, and he did not feel comfortable with her being by herself. And that night went from being strangers to being a one-night stand. So now here we are, fast forward something years later. He's a police officer. He moved over there. She's out here, and she finds out the person that she gave blood to is actually related to her. So now she's like, oh my gosh, I have family. So she moves out here to meet them and kind of go around with him. But also this policeman is kind of creeping around because, like, hey, haven't seen you in a while, still interested, let's see where this goes. It was so good. That's all I need to say. It was good. It was good. Good. Oh my gosh. I have... Oh no, don't put that. Oops, I just accidentally shelved it as do not finish. I'm just gonna fix that real quick. It was great. And that's all we gotta say. Let's see. Oh my gosh, there's so many books to go through. The next book is The Wedding Date by Jasmine Guillory. I believe this is about a guy who bumps into this girl in the elevator. He's complaining about how he doesn't have a wedding date because some things that he did in his past, blah, blah, blah. And so I guess she agrees to pretend to be his date and pretend to be his girlfriend to kind of please the family, blah, 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 until they become a relationship, blah, 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 blah. I gave this 3 stars. Yeah, I didn't really enjoy that very much. Next up, I read A Fire and Stars by Audrey Coulthurst. It's supposed to be a buddy read with Izzy from Izzy's Busy Reading, but then she ended up having to go to the hospital and had to go through some things, so I ended up reading it on my own. I'm glad she's okay, and if you guys don't know who that is, I will put a card here. Go subscribe because she's amazing. This is about a princess and a girl, I want to say like stable girl, kind of, something like that. And she's learning how to ride horses to make her more proper. And I believe, what happens? I think there's something that happens in the middle. I cannot remember what it is. I'm honestly jumbling the books right now. Let me see. Ooh, I missed out like half the summary. Apparently there's some magic in there. I give this, I think, 2.5 stars because I was very confused throughout the story. But the princess and the, I guess like the stable girl, slowly become friends and a relationship builds. I feel bad. I can't remember any of these, but I feel like I should start doing my wrap-ups each month so I have a better memory and description of each book, because of right now I am struggling. Oof. Okay. Alright, computer. The next book I read is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. But that's how you pronounce that. This me getting nervous because I think my roommate's coming. Oh, okay, I remember now. This is about a woman. Oh my gosh, this story is about a woman named Stella, and she's about 30-something years old, and she is coming to the realization that she has no history, no experience as a woman in relationships. She doesn't know anything about dating and boyfriends and kissing, all that stuff. So she decides to find a escort, as in the one from, I know some come from clubs and some don't. So this is like an escort. We normally have like a one-night stand, pleasure time, to help teach her how to do things. And over time, the two of them build a relationship, but it's hard to really do that because he does not think he's good enough for her, and also the family does not think like that. And she also doesn't think she's good enough for him because he's so used to so many good experiences with other different women, and she's not experienced in that field. I can understand they're both sides, but I feel like communicate, just love each other, get to the end. I believe I gave this 4 or 45.5 stars. It's about a 9-10 hour audiobook that I listened to. So the next book I read is The Cruel Prince, I DNF'd that within chapter 2. Then I read Counting Descent, which is a poetry book by Clint Smith. I gave that 5 stars. Then I read the audiobook of Shatter Me by Tahar Mafi. Supposed to be doing one Shatter Me book every month up until like April, May of next year. And I just realized it is October and I've only read one, which means I need to get back on that. Oops. You've got to see the video for that. I'll put the card here, and I believe there are links in the description of that video if you want to see other people's video. So check that card out. As I was saying, the next book I read was Saga 6 through 8 or 6 through 9 from the library. I borrowed them because they had the series. Obviously, I gave them all somewhere between 4 and 5 stars. They're amazing. Please check them out. The next book I read is Astonishing Color of After by Emily X. Sarpin, which is about a young girl whose mother just passed away of suicide, and she's really having a hard time trying to figure out why, whose fault is it, where's the note, etc., etc. And all of a sudden, she starts seeing her mother appear in her world as a bird. So now she's trying to discover and figure out, why is her mom coming here as a bird? What does this mean? Really trying to just go through that process of accepting what happened in grief. Okay, the next book I read is Raven, the graphic novel by Cami Garcia. I actually met Cami Garcia at BookCon, but I did not purchase the books. I think they ran out by the time I got there, but it was available as an ebook. This book actually took me a while to read because I noticed that the ebook on my app was missing a couple pages. I had to message a couple other people on Bookstagram, and they told me, yeah, you're definitely missing pages. There's more that happens after that. It's still kind of in the process of being fixed because I've tried it more than once, and I don't know if it was just me, but it still seems to be missing something. I did end up finishing it. I enjoyed it. I would like to continue reading the series. I believe the next one is Beast Boy. Also, I believe it's called DC Ink or DC Black Ink, something like that, where they're taking a lot of DC superheroes and making young adult versions, graphic novels and books. For example, there's like a Black Canary one, there's a Harley Quinn one, I think I saw Wonder Woman one. They're coming out with a lot of them. You know, I'm a DC stan. Obviously, I have to pick it up and go read it. Then I read the audiobook for The Chain by, I believe his name is Adrian McKinty. I heard about this from My Readings Odd, I want to say like Book on Haul, and it sounded really interesting. It's about a woman who just finds out that her daughter was kidnapped, and basically like a kidnapping chain. So for you to get your child back, you have to kidnap another child just to keep it going. I really enjoyed the beginning, but then towards the second half, I kind of got confused and bored with it. I believe I review up for that, so if you want to see that, go ahead and go check out my Goodreads. The next book I read was Carnival. I actually reread this. I decided to give it a second chance because why not? Also, I have all 3 of the books now, and I actually enjoyed the audiobook more than the physical book, but it's still not my favorite book. I think it's like half a star or 1 star better than the physical book. Then I read The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, or Jimenez, depending on how you pronounce that. And I don't remember if I've really read this all the way through or if I DNF'd this. I really don't. This is about a woman named Kristen Pearson, and yes I did. Okay, never mind. So I believe, if I remember correctly, she is unable to have children because of some things going on with her uterus and her ovaries, I can't remember what it is called. I'm gonna try to scroll down and see if I can find it in any of the reviews, but I don't think. No, I don't see it, but she does have some problems, and it's also it's becoming an issue in the relationship that she's building with another male character, because he wants a future with her. She's not really telling him what's going on and like why she's feeling or acting a certain way, so he's getting really confused. It's also very hot and cold because one minute she wants to be with him, she wants to be all up on him, the next minute she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, she doesn't want to talk to him, or she's upset by a comment he made, something to do with children, but again, he doesn't understand why that would be wrong, why that would bother her, because she never told him. So now basically he is working his way out of the friend zone and trying to make that relationship work. The next book I read is Renegades. I reread Renegades, listened to the audiobook because I believe it fulfilled one of my reading challenges for a readathon, also because I wanted to. Like, Renegades is amazing, and also Supernova comes out next month, so I'm about to reread book 2 and I'm about to order my book 3 because I love superheroes. Marissa Meyer is she's amazing. Scene. The next book I read is The Proposal by also Jasmine Guillory. Oof. I'm just butchering all these names. Yikes. I believe this is one that I might have DNF'd. Oh my goodness, why is it not loading? Everything's freezing. Yes, this is one that I DNF'd. I believe Jasmine is one of those little authors where I'm kind of hot and cold with. Like one book I really, really like, and one book I don't really like. I do not remember anything about this book because I was bored throughout the entire beginning. Is this book 2? Yes, it is book 2. I think this is about Nicole, whose ex-boyfriend tried to propose to her on a scoreboard, and he didn't say her name correctly, didn't spell it correctly. They only been dating for like 3 or 4 months and some other things, and so she's trying to move on from that. And then what happens with this guy? And then I think this random guy happens to be in the area, and like camera crew comes up, so he kind of like rescues her, and they become friends, and relationship happens, and I don't even know. I DNF'd that one, which I didn't like it. Another DNF I had was Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. I believe it's supposed to be a Cinderella retelling, just talking about the, evil stepsisters, trying to go more into their backstory. DNF that within chapter 2. Next book I read is Acting on Impulse by Mia Sosa. This took me a while to read because I actually picked it up on day 13 or 14 of my lend. Is that what you call it? Like, the library, Libby lends books to me for 14 days, and I picked this one up on 13. And so it ended up going to the next, I think, 4 or 5 people in the line behind me before I got it back. It's about a guy who's an actor, and he kind of just wants to live undercover. He just wants to be left alone for a while. So he goes on a little vacation, and this girl who happens to be on the same plane with him, when he sees her for the first time, he's like, I'm going to marry this woman. I'm going to be with this woman. This is the woman I want with my life. And they, they kind of separate, go about their lives, but coincidentally, they end up having to be at the same hotel. So he starts hanging out with her. They start talking. Relationship builds. Of course, she eventually finds out that he is a celebrity, and that becomes a problem with the relationship because she's upset that he cannot just tell her straight out with that. You just be honest. You don't have to lie. So now she's still trying to figure out what she wants from him because he was lying. Well, he's trying to figure out how to win her back. Yeah. Then the next book is The Right Swipe by Alicia Ray. Apologize if I pronounced that one wrong as well. That is about 2 people. I believe the woman is the owner of a dating app. People compared it to Tinder and Twitter kind of put together. And then there's a guy who is the family member of another woman who owns a dating app, and his app is related to Match. So there's these 2, but one of the family members that owns his app has passed away. So now the other family member is thinking of, because I think it's the 2 sisters who are his aunts, are deciding to sell it. Okay, I keep hearing keys like right outside my door, and I'm like, what are you doing? And these 2 had a brief encounter, I think it was like one day, where they had a one-night stand and kind of talked a little bit. Because she was expecting more to happen, because I guess they agreed on that, like, hey, we really like this date, let's see where it goes. But unfortunately, he had some things going on where he just could not talk to her. Like, he was going through things, so he couldn't do that. But she did not know that. She thought that he was ghosting her and he was full of crap, etc., etc. So she, I think, like, unmatched him or whatever. And when he tried to talk to her, she already unmatched him. He couldn't find her again. Whoops. So the next time that these 2 meet is at a convention where they're talking about the different apps and their goals and, celebrating things, etc. And he's like, whoa, it's that girl. Like, hey, what you doing? And she was like, and dipped. Yeah. But they do run into each other, I think, 1 or 2 more times again before they have a mutual agreement to do a few things with the apps, and a relationship blossoms there. There's actually a couple twists toward the end, and I was just, like, because I was not expecting that. The aunt, I give her some credit. Next book I read is Natalie Tan's Book of Luck and Fortune by Roselle Lim. I have a vlog going up for this. I'm not sure if I'm gonna put this video up first or I'm gonna let that video go up first, but either way, I really enjoyed this book. I believe I got this 4 to 5 or 5 stars. I annotated and typed it up a lot. It is about Roselle, that is the author. It's about Natalie, who's come back to her Chinatown after her mother has died because she's trying to clean up Los Angeles. And also she found out she inherited her grandmother's restaurant, which was surprising because, one, her mother is agoraphobic, so like finding out her mother went outside and passed away is a little confusing. Like, Mom, what you doing outside? Also, she did not think her mother supported her dreams of being a chef like her grandmother, so for the fact that her mother is inheriting and giving her the restaurant was kind of like, whoa. So she's back, and she discovers that the neighborhood is not what it used to be. It's kind of broken down, it's empty, it's sad, there's some tension, people are leaving, selling their stuff, their stores, and I believe it's like a psychic or seer talks to her and tells her, like, yo, you need to cook some of the magical recipes you got, give them to the 3 people that you think needs it the most, and let's help rebuild and get this neighborhood back where it's supposed to be. It's really good. So freaking good. Oh my god. I'm waiting for book 2. There's another book she's writing, but I don't know if it's related to this, like a sequel, or if it's just like similar, because you know how so the title is Natalie Tane's Book of Luck and Fortune, right? Her next book is called Vanessa Yu's Magical Paris Tea Shop. First of all, it's another female character. They're Asian, some kind of Asian descent. There's magic, it's food, and a restaurant. Girl, listen, when that book comes out, it better be at my door. That's all I'm saying. The next book I listened to is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I know. I am so behind on the bandwagon. Everyone has read this book. Everyone has loved it. Everyone watched the movie. Everyone has loved it. I have finally hopped on. I read the book. I loved it. Watched the movie. Loved it. I have never related to a character so much in my life. Like, there were certain things she would say, for example, being afraid to really show who you are in an area where it's predominantly Caucasians, and having to show a different side because, you know, you tend to be known as, oh, the loud black girl, or the typical gangster black person, or the, you know, thing like that. Girl. So I'm about to buy the book and annotate it, because I got all these notes written down on my book, my computer, and my phone. I just want to put in the book. So stay tuned for that when I reread that. Also, that is a book that you guys suggested my friend Carla to read. She loved it. I think she finished in a couple days. And there's a couple books similar to that I'm probably going to send her right after I film this video to make her read, because it is good. Like, what more do I need to say? Okay, so the next book I read is Shona Bonabella by Tomi Adeyemi. I actually reread this because I wanted to. It's supposed to be a buddy read, but I don't think it's still gonna happen. And also, book 2 is coming out. I did not enjoy it as much as the first time. I felt like I picked up more on a few things that other people were having issues with. It kind of like, I noticed it, and now it's kind of dampened my reading experience with it. So unfortunately, I did not enjoy it as much. I'm so excited to read book 2 though, because like, I gotta know what happens next. Like you can't just go through all of that and then be done. Like, come, give me book 2. I need more. Then I attempted to read Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn. DNF'd it. I think it's supposed to be really confusing and like mess with your head, but I was so confused. I did not understand anything was going on. I had to reread like twice. I was writing down the character names and all that because I was mixing up the characters. I just couldn't do it. Like, it's supposed to be like confused, but you're into it. But also like, it's a thriller. I wasn't getting anything. I was just sitting there like math, numbers, words, characters. I couldn't do it. So I DNF'd it. Then I read Zoo by James Patterson. I actually read the show. Oh my gosh, read the show. I actually watched the show before reading this. And I think watching that dampened my reading experience, because I really enjoyed the show and expected the book to be very similar, but it wasn't. And now I really like that more. Which I think kind of like I from Hardback Quarter. Whenever I watch the movie or show, I tend to really enjoy that more than the book. Sometimes. Most of the time is books better, but in this case, the show is better. Then I read Coraline by Neil Gaiman, because why not? I read like, it's spooky season, bitch. Like, it's spooky season. We gotta read. And so I read Coraline. Actually, I think I looked at the audiobook. I enjoyed the movie better. I think it's because I really liked how they added I just really liked how they animated it, and how like they made it for children to watch, but also be a little bit scary. Where this is just more dark and scary and just thrown at you. I don't know, I kind of like that mix of child things, but thriller. But the next book I listened to was Soul Surfer by Bethany Hamilton. I actually watched the movie a really long time ago, and I really, really enjoyed it. Again, this is a case of where I enjoyed the movie more than the book. This book kind of jumped around. It's almost like she was bringing up, it's like one part was talking about her life now, and then it was talking about the movie. Then it's almost like it was like a diary, basically. Felt like a diary put into a book. I was really confused because the movie didn't feel like that. Probably because they purposely made the movie focus on this one thing. I don't know. It was still good, but I do think I enjoyed the movie more because I was more so here for the attack and the experience, not like all this other stuff. Then the last book that I read between July and now, which actually finished a couple hours ago, is Beauty Queens by Liver Bray. Do not remember what I gave this. I think I gave it like 3.5 stars. It's about a bunch of beauty queens, pageant girls going on a plane to go towards a new contest. But this plane crashes on an island and now they have to survive living and hope that someone comes to rescue them. It's very interesting because like it's not one of those serious like, okay, now we're trying to survive. It was a bit more comedic, more teenage funny like, because it stayed true to some stereotypes like dumb blonde and all they care about is their looks and oh my gosh, what was the other one? And then there's a bit of mystery in it, kind of figure out like why is no one coming and why are these different things happening on the island. I think there was also, because they're like teenagers / young adults, there is a bit of romance between some of the characters. I believe there's some LGBT in there, as in lesbians, bisexuals, transgenders, questioning. There is just a bit of a romance mixed in with that. Then there's some conflicts between like different storylines. Each character had a little bit of different storyline. For example, one was trying to get a relationship with another girl, trying to navigate that. Then there's a group of guy pirates that came on the island. They're kind of like, what are you doing here? Then there's people in like black t-shirts and they're like, what are you doing here? Because it's just a random island. Then there's like, oh, we're trying to, get back so we can get back to our pageant kind of storyline. It was just a lot of everything going on. It was actually really good because it kind of cut off at a point where you're like, oh, I need more. But it doesn't feel like you cut off in the middle of something. So, I believe that is all of the books that I read from July up until now. I am currently in the middle of a couple books because I may have checked out so many books at once and also brought so many books from home. And yeah, I hoped to not have so many books on a wrap-up ever again. I probably should stick to the monthly thing because this was a lot and my throat was kind of like, hey, after talking so much. I really hope that you guys enjoy this. I do know I went a little bit fast and did not give full descriptions about all of them just because there was like 60 books to talk about. And I will see you guys in the next one. I wanted to quickly mention 2 more books. I finished one this morning and I'm listening to the other one right now. However, I'm not sure if I'll be finishing it today or tomorrow, or at least by November 1st. Those 2 books are book 4 in the Land of Stories series. I believe this one's called Beyond the Kingdoms. And then I just read Wicked Will Rise, which is book 2 of the Dorothy Must Die series. Basically 2 fairy tale retellings. I gave Wicked Will Rise 4 stars. I'm not really sure how I'm feeling about it. I'm starting to feel that like series thing where like when you continue with the series, they get worse as you go along. It's still interesting to me. I just feel like the storyline was boring. And also I got very confused about which character was who throughout the book. I don't know why in my head I thought we were changing perspectives, but really we weren't. But I kept getting confused. I don't know. Right now I'm listening to, Beyond the Kingdoms. I haven't read books in I think it's been a couple months since I read book 3, so I'm trying to refresh quickly on what the first 3 books were about. This is a series definitely that's like, would have been good with like 2 or 3 books, because now it seems like he's trying to continue adding on more characters and continue adding on more of a storyline and continue on. It's just like, it reminds me of Harry Potter. Basically, we're going on forever. We don't need to go on forever. We don't need 8, 9 books. We don't need to see them grow up. It's okay. And I'm pretty sure something related to the series just came out by him, and I'm just like, maybe for younger children they'll enjoy this, but like, does it really need to be this long? I don't know. It's still good. It's just, it does not need to be this long. Yeah, I just wanted to mention those. I'm pretty sure that's all I'm going to be reading for the end of this month. So the next few books should be in my next wrap up if I even do a wrap up. As you can see, I've been forgetting. And yeah, hopefully I will read some more, and hopefully I'll do a wrap up so you guys can see those books. I have been reading a lot and I would like to talk about them. Also, I do have 3 breaks coming up: Thanksgiving break, winter/Christmas break, and then spring break. Christmas break is like a month long, but mine's a little bit longer because there are days that I don't have classes, so I could leave those days. Hey, so, and I'm not gonna be working or anything because I don't think anything's gonna allow me to work for them for a month. So I'm probably gonna come up with some kind of TBR for that month and just read in my free time. I don't know if we're visiting family or anything. I don't think there's any plans, so I'm probably gonna be home playing Xbox and reading. So December or January might be popping with videos and books, so get ready. Also, please suggest books down below because I have different video ideas and each of them take different time spans and haven't quite figured out which ones I want to do. Like I could do 2 or 3 next month that are a week long. I could do a month-long one in the winter break. Like, let me know. Comment down below. DM me in those links that's also down below. Let me know what books to read. I would watch other YouTube videos, but I wanted like specific, just, yeah. Suggest me some books, and I'll see you guys in the next video.